Shit. All right. All right, everyone. Welcome to Strictly Baseball. I'm Jacob Brown, joined here with Steve Cashin. Today, we're going to go over the big leagues. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's been a ton of no-hitters lately. Very out of the ordinary. Usually you get 5 or 6 maybe in a year. We had 5 or 6 in a week or two. It was pretty crazy, but great to see, in my opinion. That was really fun. AL and NL West are the best divisions record-wise right now. The other divisions kind of lackluster. A lot of 500, a lot of injury problems, a lot of underperforming, and we'll get to that a little bit as well. So, Steve, your Rays have won 11 straight games. How you feeling right now?
Good. This is the run that I think for me as a fan, you're looking for all year. You drop one last night, the streak comes to an end, but it was bound to happen eventually. The Royals ran to a team, pitched a good game last night, but hey, 11 straight, it's hard to do in baseball. It's really puts into perspective how hard it is to win, how the Moneyball team, Oakland A's, even the Indians who broke that record, won 22 straight. That's a month's worth of baseball to not lose a baseball game. So impressive. The hitting came alive, pitching's done well all year, but it's satisfying. It's kept them in the mix because teams like Boston, New York, they keep winning, and for you to win 11 games straight and only be half a game up in the division just shows you how much talent there is in the East. And but it's good. It's keeping us there, and that's what kind of saved us from being 500 at the moment. But I'm enjoying it. Long way to go, but it's satisfying to see for sure.
Yeah, and what do we talk about the Rays all the time? They whip pitchers out of their ass. That's what they've been doing this season. Walker goes down, Archer goes down. What happens? Rich Hill turns into a 10-plus strikeout per game guy. You have Shane McClanahan throwing 100 miles per hour as a lefty. And they haven't even brought in Shane Baz yet. Luis Patino has only been a little bit introduced. Yanni Chirinos is still injured. So you have almost a rotation worth of guys that might not even be in there full term. Ryan Yarbrough, too. Last year, he was really consistent. Now it's like, is he even one of the best 5 that you have? And, oh, wait, you have Tyler Glasnow. So a lot of pitchers, and that's really what's keeping you afloat. And even without Nick Anderson, you've got guys in there that know how to spin it in the bullpen. Andrew Kittredge has been unbelievable this year with an ERA almost at 1. I think it's like 1.13. Of course, you still have Fairbanks. Castillo's been a little up and down, but when he's on, he's on. And, Jeffrey Springs has been nice. And that, again, not to mention Chaz Rowe, Oliver Drake. Those guys are injured. They're going to come back. And so the Rays are even in a position where, oh, yeah, we'll trade Trevor Richards with Willie Adames. Let's get more pitchers. And they
get more relievers. It's crazy. Not that we need any more. You look at guys that are hurt now. I'm trying to think of Jalen Beeks. He's another guy that's on injured reserve. Brendan McKay, another reliever. So there's a ton of capital here, which I guess if you're a Rays fan or if you follow the team at all, maybe you trade some of these pieces that are hurt or you have now and get some depth in your lineup. So the Rays, hats off to them. They somehow find a way to do it. Sucks to see Adames go. That kind of just a locker room teammate guy, just kind of he brings life to the clubhouse. So it was tough to see him go, but it's a business. He was batting 190, just wasn't getting over that hump, but good fielder defensively, but it is what it is. You're looking to win a World Series, get there again. The moves had to be made, but yeah, the Rays, that's just what their strong suit is. It's pitch, 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 and we'll figure out the rest along the way. And I think more teams are starting to model after that. And you look at the league now, it's offense kind of comes second in a way. It's more of pitching is going to win you championships. And the Dodgers did that last year, and it showed, and the offense came with it. And that's the formula for success in this league. And that's how you have to win.
Yeah, and the Dodgers even doubled down on it, and they're like, hey, get Trevor Bauer in here. We need another one. And but yeah, I don't, the Adames thing is weird because you're like, well, do they really have a shortstop replacement? Right now, they kind of do with Joey Wendell. He's been unreal, really, for about 2 weeks. He's been on a tear. I think he's hitting 500 in the last week or two, hitting home runs more often than he usually does, which is uncharacteristic. And, before they bring up a guy like Vidal Brujan or Wander Franco, Wendell's at least a really serviceable replacement right now.
Yeah, he's shown that he's done it. He's done it for years with the Rays. Gets on base, he walks, takes hit by pitches. Really a strong utility guy, and he's a great Ray. I don't know if anywhere else he would produce that success.
Yeah, he's the definition of a Ray.
It is, and that's it.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, these guys will leave. Like Adames, going off track real quick, I want to see how he does in Milwaukee. Does he fall off the face of the earth? Typically what these guys do, but Joey Wendell has been doing it all. He fields, he just kind of takes what's given to him, and not the biggest guy in the world, but he sees the strike zone really well and works from there. So the Rays did call up Tyler Walls. He was a 7th prospect in the Rays organization. He's playing some shortstop right now, but yeah, that's the big question mark. There's no actual replacement for Willy Adames at shortstop right now. And do you want to call Franco up and start the service time now? It's a call that the organization will have to make, but I think they're in a good spot defensively. They have enough pieces where they can throw a guy in like Wendell, can play the shortstop, second base position, and go from there. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of Rays talk. I mean, it's exciting. Just crazy. There's a long way to go. If we were in last year's season, we'd have like less than 10 games remaining. So
yeah, right.
It's kind of sobering in a way that baseball is officially back. It's 162 and just a ton of baseball left to be played. And the door is wide open for any team in this division.
Yeah. I mean, the Blue Jays are staying afloat. The Yankees, they still have their problems. I mean, I'm not going to stop saying it until they prove me wrong in the postseason. They still have the same problems that they always do. And we'll get to them later, but the Red Sox, they're still winning. We talked about, can they go through the tough part of their schedule? And I'm going to look at that right now. And we said, hey, April, you're playing the Orioles, you're playing below average teams. Well, now they started off that period of time by playing the A's. They lost 2 out of 3. They beat the Angels 2 out of 3. Then they went to Toronto. They won 2 out of 3. They beat Philly 2 out of 3. And now they have lost the first game to Atlanta. They're playing them again tonight. So honestly, you should beat the Angels. You should. I mean, the Phillies are right at your level. That could have gone either way. Phillies also, though, Bryce Harper just hit the IL. Things aren't going as well for them. And the Blue Jays are right at your level too. So the one series that I look at here is Oakland. And the first team that that is definitely probably better than you drop 2 out of 3 at home. Again, I get it. You can go either way in the regular season. I know I'm very harsh on the Red Sox. It's just I'm looking for the signs of when it's going to collapse because it's going to. This just isn't sustainable. You can keep throwing out Nick Pivetta. You can keep throwing out Garrett Richards and Evaldi and Eduardo Rodriguez and Martin Perez. None of them are number ones. None of them are really number twos. So eventually it's not going to work. And Chris Sale, before he got injured, he wasn't good in September or August, really. His second half stats for 2 or 3 years in a row weren't good. So he hasn't been real Chris Sale since they won the World Series. Again, it's going to collapse, and those hitters aren't going to keep hitting, 300, all of them hitting home runs, scoring 8 runs a game. We've talked about it, but Red Sox, I guess they're staying afloat. Respect to them for winning series at least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things we can keep. I guess we're considered haters. I mean, we don't like them. They're in division rivals, but they're winning. They're winning baseball games. They're somehow, even when they're losing series, they'll lose 2 out of 3, and then they go back and they'll win 3 out of 4. But the hitting is what's really driven them to win 29 baseball games so far. 29-20, pretty good record. Great record actually. When you look at the rest of the MLB this year. Horrible year last year. Pitching was awful. Hitting was just not there. I think they mailed it in last year, whether you want to say it or not, if you're a Red Sox fan, but they pretty much mailed it in. There were games where they just kind of didn't look like remotely engaged to
I wonder why. So they can get that draft pick and draft lighter.
And then they got their coach back. I mean, it was the whole the ploy was there the whole time, but I'll give credit where credit's due. The hitting has really it's carried its weight. Xander Bogaerts batting .343, 10 homers, 30 RBIs, 15 walks. A guy's the best shortstop in the game right now. Christian Vasquez batting 250, 20 RBIs, 3 homers. JD Martinez batting 320. Devers batting 273. Going back to Martinez, he's got 12 jacks and 37 RBIs. Devers has 40 RBIs. So you got guys that are just raking the run productions there. That's what's going on baseball games. They're scoring on average about 10 runs a night, and it's unreal. Like, you look at their score sheet, it's like, all right, they're scoring 10, 9, 7, and then you have the occasional 2-run ball game, 2-1, 3-2, but they somehow find a way to win those games. So even if your pitching's not ideal, if you can hit the baseball, you're gonna win a lot of baseball games. So props to them for staying afloat right now with a team ERA. I want to say they give me a total here. Team ERA is 3.89. Not bad, but as the starting rotation, Evaldi's a 4.3, Richards a 3.83, Rodriguez 5.06, Pivetta and Perez both have a 3.59 ERA. So you're really nothing spectacular. I think if you get to the postseason, if they get there, I think you run into a team that just shuts you down or can score off your pitching. But such a long way to go. I think when you look at the scope of the division, the talent-wise with the Rays and the Yankees have world-class pitching, and I think could beat their lineup versus their pitching any day in a series. So credit where credit's due. They're doing the job. They're winning baseball games, and until they stop doing it, I got to keep just tipping the cap that they're doing what they need to do right now.
Yeah, well, it's similar to San Francisco in the West, where you're like, how long am I going to believe this? How long am I going to believe this? And they're still up there. Now I think they lost the series with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure they lost 2 out of 3 there.
Yeah, and that division's sick. I mean, you got the Padres at 31-18, Dodgers 30-18, and the Giants at 29-19. The Dodgers and Padres are 9-1 in their last 10. But what were you going to say?
The Dodgers swept the Giants.
Okay.
In 3. So they've won 2-1, 6-3, and 11-5. But that was a series people had their eye on. Is this Giants team for real? I still think they're a legit threat in that division. They're a thorn in their side, but at the end of the day, I think they're a wild card contender. I just don't think they're on the same level as the Padres and the Dodgers, and it kind of showed this weekend. Yeah, they have a 4 set coming up here. They go to LA. That will be, I think, a determining factor of, all right, can this team really hang with the top dogs? But nonetheless, they're still doing the same thing the Red Sox are doing, like you mentioned, and winning baseball games and just staying competitive, however way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, we might end up seeing 3 teams out of the NL West make the playoffs. I don't see 2 making it from the NL Central. At this point, all the teams in the NL East are 500. The Mets now, Conforto and McNeil and Nimmo have been out for a while, and they said Conforto and McNeil are going to be out till late June. Syndergaard, they don't even know yet. So Carrasco's been out the entire year. His injury stint has been delayed. So the Mets have their problems. Marcell Ozuna apparently dislocated a few fingers. He's seeing a specialist, but he was hitting 207. And I wish I had said it before the season, but I didn't want to get too much hate. Every other year for Ozuna is not good. He always does this. He hits 240 with 30 bombs and 78 RBIs with a 300 on base. And then the next year he'll do what he did last year. Very inconsistent. And the Atlanta Braves, I don't know what they're doing. They're not winning as much as they should be with that pitching staff. Morton is underperformed. Their bullpen is not as strong as last year, although I do believe that they just brought back Shane Green. But anyway, about the Giants, I think the reason they're staying afloat, DeSclafani, Gausman, and Alex Wood have been phenomenal. Those 3 have been really special. But again, it's like Alex Wood, 30 years old. It's just in a 60-game season, we would have been like, wow, he's an ace going to the playoffs. This year, it's like, well, what is he going to be by July 3rd? And Kevin Gausman, I trust a little bit more, but Alex Wood throwing 91 with nice movement on his pitches. Is he Dallas Keuchel now? Or because even Dallas Keuchel this year, his ERA is back up to the mid fours now that he's facing the rest of the league. So just interesting. The Giants are an interesting case. I mean, you always get that team every year where you're like, oh, okay. And there's other stuff too. I mean, Buster Posey arguably is the best catcher in baseball right now, hitting 351 with 9 home runs and 17 RBIs. And he plays like every other day because they don't like him on his knees every day, which, by the way, NL, you could have had a DH and Buster Posey be in there every damn day.
Yep, exactly. That you look at, that's the different dynamic too. It's funny because I watch the West Coast or the NL, I should say, and you see the pitchers hitting again. I'm like, what the hell? And because last year we were accustomed to the DH, and runs were being scored left and right over the National League, but Buster Posey's been unreal. Taking the year off last year, I think it was the best thing for him. It kind of revitalized his game. He's seen the ball well, hitting it up the middle, just not an easy out as of right now, and playing good defense, throwing guys out. It looks like vintage Buster Posey when they were winning World Series titles over there, but they're playing good as a ball club right now. Their hitting has been, pretty. It's been above average. Buster Posey's batting 351. Brandon Belt 230, Solano 262, bunch of 260 hitters right now. So they're doing what they need to do to get on base, get runners in, and you mentioned the pitching, Alex Wood and Gausman both with 1.53 ERA and a 1.93. So
yeah,
that wins you a ton of ball games if you can keep your ERA under 2. Most nights, if you get more than 2-3 run support, you're going to win. So I trust them on the mound, but it's everyone else around them. Do I see Johnny Cueto, Aaron Sanchez is on a 10-day IL right now. These guys have mid-3 ERAs. So is that going to last a full season? Once you get to the dead heat of July, when you still have about 60, 70 games left. Are those guys still going to be chucking healthy, throwing the ball well? So that's what you look at with these cases. Like you said, how long is it going to be until we see one of these teams like the Giants or the Red Sox just take a nosedive, and all of a sudden you look up and they're 500 again? So only time will tell, but they're doing what they need to do, and I'll root for them, and hopefully they can keep the success up. But it's just when you look at the analytics, that's where you do look at numbers and trends in a long season like this. Odds are it probably won't stay up to float.
Yeah, probably not. Because I mean, the Dodgers and the Padres are back. They're 9-1 in their last 10, so they're just going to keep going up and up and up. Because the Dodgers went through their little scuffle and now they're back. Padres got Tatis back. Will Myers just got back. Lamet, his workload starting to be ramped up. So the Padres and Dodgers, they're not going to slow down. So if the Giants, I think, what did it say? They're 6-4 in their last 10. Even that, it might not be enough to keep up over a long season, because the Dodgers and Padres are going to keep winning over and over again. But a big thing in this division happened about a week and a half ago. Albert Pujols, he got DFA'd by the LA Angels, and then the Dodgers have now picked him up. And I have some mixed feelings. At first, I was like, okay, Angels, that's a dick move. He's in his final year. Let him go out in grace. But then when I heard that Pujols was angry at the Angels for doing it, I was like, wait a second, Pujols, why exactly are you angry? You didn't do jack shit with the Angels. You didn't win a single playoff game, and you didn't have a single year that was up to par with what you did in St. Louis. How do you have any beef with the Angels saying, you know what, Albert, we don't want your lug of a fucking ass on the bench for another 6 months, hitting 182, hitting a home run every 3 weeks. We don't want that anymore. Go to the other side of LA and get your ring and sit on your ass there. If I were the Angels, I'd be like, we already paid you your $250 and you didn't do shit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it was time to move on. I think I'm shocked that he's still playing the game. Not that he's still playing, but he was starting over in LA, the other side of LA, and I'm like, you're just kind of wasting someone's time. There's got to be a young guy in the system for the Angels that could be playing DH, first base, whatever he was playing. And now, the reports came out that he was upset with how the hit all unfolded. They DFA'd him because he wasn't performing. He's batting .217 right now with, I believe, I don't even know how many homers he's got. Let me double check. 1 homer and 5 RBIs this year. So
yeah,
you look at it, it's like, what are you upset with them for? You weren't performing, you weren't contributing to help this ball club win, and now you're over there on the other side of Los Angeles, and maybe he gets to ride off in the sunset. I think this is it for him. I think that DFA assignment was kind of a wake up call. Like, hey, the game's surpassing you now. You're not nearly what you were when you started off your career, just hitting jacks. Your run support, your run production was up there. I just think it's time for him to move on, and this is it right here. I think he's going to it's one last ride to go get a ring and move on from there. So I think I'm on your side here. I don't think there was any debate as to why he was mad. It just, I don't know. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I mean, you could say what you want about Alex Rodriguez, but he retired in August of 2016 and retired in season and realized, hey, I can't catch up to a fastball anymore. It's okay. Albert has not been Albert Pujols in at least 4 or 5 years. And even before that, for the first half of that contract, it was 250, 30 bombs, 100 ribbies. And it just, Albert Pujols with St. Louis was one of the best hitters ever. So he was never the same guy in LA. And it's 10 years down the road and you're not even close. So he should have just said, you know what, let me be the bigger man here and retire. But he had to just keep going. I don't get it. And it kind of rubs me the wrong way.
And that's a great point you made up with A-Rod is like, hey, sometimes the game will respect you in a way where if you just say it's weird. One day you wake up and you just don't have it anymore. And Alex Rodriguez said that. I mean, you could see it in his gameplay. Guys were smoking the fastball by him. And when he was in his prime, those balls that he was missing, they were going 420 dead center. Hands down. RBI machine, got on base a ton. And he woke up one day and was like, the game has just eclipsed me. And he said, you know what? I don't have any more. I'm going to retire. Now, you have guys like Pujols now where they just don't want to leave the game. They're going to you're going to have to stretcher me off this field before I leave the game of baseball. And that's what's happening. Sometimes it tarnishes your image, your reputation, because you're kind of dragging the organization, whoever you're with, kind of with you to the bottom. But I think this is it. I think he's realized it. And I think sometimes guys got to be the bigger man in the game and go, hey, let me give a young kid who's trying to make a ball club the opportunity. Because right now you're basically taking up a spot from someone else. But yeah. I think right now this is it. And there's no way around it. I think he's got to ride off into the sunset and leave the game in the right way. Just be like, you know what, thanks for everything you've done. Because he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. The swing, the approach he's had up there, it's just unlike any other world-class athlete, baseball player. And so it's been a great career, and hopefully maybe he gets it done. I hope not, because, fuck the Dodgers. But, hey, maybe he gets it done.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, it's so gimmicky. He's wearing double fives because Corey Seager wears 5. It's like you're one of the best hitters of all time. You've worn number 5 your whole career. Now you got to go to the Dodgers and wear 55. It's just to me, it's just such a gimmick. But I don't know. I mean, you know what? Good for you, Albert. If you win a ring, it's a good way to end it. But if they don't, it's a gimmick. Purely, he should have just retired early at that point. So, yeah, we got to talk about that no-hitter trend in the major leagues recently. I forget which 5 it was, but Corey Kluber was one of them. Wade Miley was one of them. Bunch of no-hitters, 5 in a week. It was nuts to watch. I was watching the Kluber game with my dad, at least the end of it. I wasn't even watching that game, which really pisses me off because I watch all these Yankee games for 10, 12 years now, since I was 10 years old. I'd never seen a no-hitter before. And then I checked my phone. It's Corey Kluber's throwing a no-hitter through 6. I'm like, really? I didn't get to see the first 6. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? Got to see the final 3 or 4. It was awesome to see its history. And, listen, good for Corey Kluber, but we just heard out, just change subject real quick. Little pull in the arm. Who knows if he's coming back? We'll see. So, Steve, what are you thinking about all these no-hitters?
I think it's good for the game of baseball. It's exciting. I know you have the old heads. I know Kershaw was kind of bitching about it on whatever media outlet he was. I saw it on some ESPN article. He's like, "Oh, this is not good for the game of baseball. Too many no hitters. Blah, blah, blah. It takes away the significance and the I guess the how special a no hitter is." I'm like, well, then hit the baseball.
So you're more superior, Kershaw?
And that's what I said. I read the article. Yeah. I'm like, all right. I mean, these guys have just thrown the baseball really well. I mean, the 6 no hitters have all been against three teams: Indians, the Mariners, and the Rangers. Each got no hit twice. And you look at the guys that have thrown the no hitters: Joe Musgrove on April 9th. Then you have Carlos Rondon on April 14th.
He's been crazy, by the way.
John Means from Baltimore, Wade Miley from the Reds, Spencer Turnbull from the Tigers, and obviously Corey Kluber just over a week ago against the Rangers. So you've gotten no-hitters thrown from just a bunch of different teams: Baltimore, Yankees, the Tigers, the Reds, teams from different calibers of the MLB. Got teams that are horrible, and then you got teams that are competitive, division winners, just contenders that are throwing no-hitters. So you're seeing the scope from all these guys, and I think it's great for baseball. It's fun. Nothing like turning on a game in the 8th inning, a guy's throwing a gem, and you're like, all right, let's go get it done. And I was rooting for Kluber to throw a no-hitter because I'm like, you don't see this very often. It's very rare, and good for him because he's been kind of through the ringer the last couple of years with Texas, and to do it against his former team. Yeah. How ironic is that? So these guys are throwing the ball well, and I think you just got to give credit to where credit's due. And for a pitcher to say that, like Kershaw, to go, hey, this is not good for the game. Who are you to say that, dude? Like, those are your guys. That's your position that's excelling. And it's fun to watch if you're a fan, and it brings attention to the sport. So why not sell that brand?
Exactly. No, I agree with you on every point there. It's almost like Kershaw's like, oh, well, I did it in a day when the balls weren't coming off being juiced, and I did it without the shifts and blah, blah, blah. I did it without launch angle and all this shit. Listen, it's kind of like Verlander last year complaining about the balls being juiced while he had a 2.2 ERA. It's like, if you don't need to say anything, don't say anything. It's just so dumb.
Exactly. Like, everyone has their own 2 cents that they can throw in to the situation. But if it doesn't affect you, and if don't say anything at all, like, why try to damper? And I think that's what Kershaw's doing. It's like, all right, well, let me try to make something of this situation that doesn't need to be said. He says it. I think it kind of breezed over everyone's head. It just kind of caught my eye because that I pitched. It's hard as shit to do, and to throw the ball over a 6-inch plate and to give up no hits against major league talent. It's crazy to even try to even take away something from these guys, but it is what it is. And then the Verlander thing, like you mentioned, oh, the balls are juiced. Well, why don't you, critique? Why don't you work the corner of the plate? Stop serving it up. Like, there's no actual proof the balls are juiced, but it all goes in the same token. But baseball players have always been like that. They'll always say something. It's just it's an old timer sport, and the unwritten rules and blah blah blah. And like,
oh well, we got to talk about that. But before we do, we were talking about no hitters. 17-year-old Frank Mosicato has thrown 4 consecutive high school no hitters. Currently committed to UConn, but might be going on draft night. That's nuts.
That guy's gone.
Yeah, no, it's funny
crazy.
Though. I showed it to my brother, and he actually just recently committed to Weber International University. So congratulations to my brother. But he was looking at the video. He's like, I don't really take much stock in this. It looks like he's playing for a Catholic school. And he said most of those schools aren't in as good of leagues in high school. Still, though, 4 consecutive no-hitters. I mean, come on.
I mean, I don't care who you're playing. 4 consecutive no hitters. That's pretty impressive. He might have your brother's onto something there. The Northeast baseball, I don't think, is quite up to par with the baseball down south here. Just because you could find a league and a team anywhere down here in Florida, even at Georgia, Alabama. Teams are playing. It's like hockey up north. You're playing just year round. And
he was also saying, not just that, he was saying like all the Catholic private schools play outside public schools too. Like it's public and private.
Yeah, so the competition levels, the difference is quite drastic, but nevertheless, 4 no hitters in a row. That's crazy. I don't care if you're pitching in little league, high school, college, the major leagues, any level to do it is hard. Because baseball, it's the game of inches. It's luck half the time. To not give up a little dinky hit. How many times it's happened? You've seen it. You saw a guy off at the end of the bat, and it somehow it gets over the head of somebody, and it's a hit. So pretty impressive stuff, and maybe he goes for 5.
Hey, we'll see. But we do have to talk about the unwritten rules thing. Tony La Russa, my God, dude. I mean, when you have your own players clowning you on social media, that's when you know that it's pretty bad. Basically what happened, Yermin Mercedes, 3-0 count. White Sox were winning, whatever the score was, more than 10 runs, I think it was. Twins throw in their position player. Yermin Mercedes decides to hit a home run. Tony La Russa has a problem with it for some reason. And then on the plane ride on the way home, Tim Anderson, you can hear him yelling. He was like, "Hey, Yermin, keep swinging 3-0." And then all the players started laughing on the plane. This is a whole public thing now. And then you see Tony La Russa in the press conference. He's like, "I have no problem if the Twins are mad and they retaliate." You're literally telling the Twins to retaliate against your own player? Are you kidding me? And then you have Lance Lynn, who played for La Russa in St. Louis, and now he has in Chicago. Like, if you homer on me in a 3-0 count in a blowout, respect. La Russa's stuck in 1981. Come on, man. Like, let's get over this stuff.
Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of these bullshit unwritten rules and my guys can't swing a 3-0 pitch is bullshit. Get out of here with that. Like, it'd be different if it's 20-0 in a ball game and it's the 8th inning and they're not scoring 20 runs to come back. But these games where teams are bitching about these unwritten rules, they're like 7-8 run games. I've seen it plenty of times where teams come back down 6-7, and all of a sudden you go, well, what happened? Well, you know what happened? We stopped scoring runs. So I don't mind it. I like I said, it'd be completely different if the game's like 21-2 and it's the 8th inning. There's no chance. They've thrown the towel in. They're not scoring 18 runs. And if you don't want to get hit, don't throw the ball down the middle. Work the zone lower, I guess, but
don't throw the fucking position player.
Exactly. Throw a guy in that needs some work and go, hey, go give me 3 outs. Let's go end this thing quick. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of there. And for your own, back to the main point here, for your own manager to kind of scold you, don't do that. And then you go out and, I don't have a problem with him throwing at my guy. One of your superstars, by the way. Yeah. I'd be like, I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, where is the game of baseball trying to go? Like, people want to see runs scored and all this. And then we're going back and forth in these unwritten rules. Last year when Tatis hit the home run against the Rangers, I think or was it this year? It was last year, right?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah. And he hits the 3-0 count, hits a grand slam. The best player in baseball, the new face of baseball, was having the best night of his life, and then he was told by his own teammates not to do that and swing 3-0, and his manager even said, hey, that's the unwritten rule, don't do that because it's going to hurt their feelings. And John Boyd did a breakdown on both these incidents, and he was like, so what are we going to tell teams if God forbid these teams come back and beat you? What's your excuse then? Oh, well, I didn't want to hurt the other team's feelings because of the unwritten rule. It's the most obscure, backwards thought I've ever heard in baseball. I get it. We're not in the 1970s anymore. It's 2021. You're trying to ignite baseball and make it exciting. I don't know. It's just completely backwards. And I don't buy into that whole old school mindset of don't swing 3-0. If you don't want him to hit a home run, don't serve it up down the middle. Don't throw a position player. It's that simple.
Yeah, I just don't get Jerry Reinsdorf's decision-making here in hiring Tony La Russa. He was retired. He was already inducted into the Hall of Fame. This guy was done, past his time. And Rick Renteria led this team into the postseason when they weren't expected to. They had the roster that was developing into that at this time last year, but he led them in there. He did the same thing with the Cubs and then was fired. And why didn't you just keep Rick Renteria? I mean, he did a good job, and they lost a series to Oakland, who they've made the playoffs for a few years. They're experienced. They have guys who know how to do it. So they should have just kept Rick Renteria, a guy who seemed to gel with that clubhouse. And now you have this old curmudgeon, gnome sitting out there in his office barking orders, and everyone's clowning him. It's like, this seems like a mid-season. If you don't get this guy out of here, how is he going to lead you to the promised land? Because if your players can't even get behind you, once you make a bad decision, they're really going to get behind you because they're in first place right now. They're riding high, but hey, they just got swept by the Yankees who can't hit, and they just got shut down. So now that this is happening, it's like, well, once the bad times come, then we're really going to see how bad this is going to get, because you can win and have your little fights. When the losing comes in and it's both at the same time, there might be some stuff that starts to blow up over there.
Yeah, it's one thing where, okay, it's one incident, we move on from it, but you have a team right now that's playing good baseball, good enough baseball to probably win the division. Yeah, you just got swept by the Yankees, but good response. They've beat St. Louis the first two games of their series they're playing right now. So I think in this grand scheme of things, you're not even 2 months into the season. We are still 4 or 5 days away from completing the second month of a really long major league season. Something goes bad with this ball club. They're young. They're kind of inexperienced. And if your manager starts kind of turning his back on you, not having the backs of your superstars, doing what happened the other night. Oh, it's okay to throw out my guys. Well, what are you telling them? You don't have a dog in the fight for us. Why should we play for you if you don't have our backs? And so that kind of rubs people the wrong way, especially in baseball. It's a very the camaraderie of the team is just it's there because you're with each other every single day for 6-7 months. So if this ship starts turning sideways a little bit, I think you make a move, because last year you had a great team and you ran into a team that's just been there. They know how to do it. They know how to win those wild card games, those postseason type, that atmosphere. So for them to make that move in the offseason we talked about it for a while in the offseason. It was just so mind boggling, just with the team that's so young, inexperienced, to go bring in a manager like this. I get it. Try to get an old head in there. This is how it's done, but I just don't think it's the solution if there's some turmoil there, because young guys like that, they'll turn their backs on an old manager like that in a heartbeat. So I hope it doesn't happen. Hopefully they've written all that off, but they're clowning him, like you said. You have Tim Anderson, the plane that yelled, keep swinging 3-0.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. And if they're all on board with that, so be it. If people want to get pissed off, let them do it. But if that's your team and that's how your mindset's going to be going into every game, we're going to kick people's asses. We're going to swing 3-0. We're going to punish you guys until you make the adjustment. That's your mindset. And I have no problem with the team going in and going, hey, we're going to score 20 runs. And if you don't like it, then stop us. Like that's what championship teams, I think, are made of. We're going to impose our will until you can stop us. And that, to me, is just the wrong message being sent by La Russa. And hopefully you don't see that. If not, I think this team goes as far as what the top of the organization does with their management. So we'll see. A long way to go.
Yeah. And I have a gut feeling that they're not going to fire him and that they're going to stick with this, at least for the rest of the year, because a midseason firing is something that's really it doesn't happen a lot in baseball. You'll see it maybe in football, basketball, it happens, hockey too, but baseball, not very often. And so, I mean, I've never seen a situation like this, though, really. I mean, I've been watching baseball for a little bit, and you really don't see public. The last guy, quite frankly, that I remember, this might be a trend with Jerry Reinsdorf, Ozzie Guillen. Nobody liked him in Chicago. I mean, so there's some managers that sometimes get under people's skin and they don't work out. And maybe La Russa at this point is that type of guy, but we'll see. But I did want to point out Carlos Rodon, 5-1 with a 1.24 ERA out of nowhere. I mean, just crazy. He had the no-hitter too, and insane. I mean, 64 strikeouts and 43 and 2/3 innings, pretty sick. So good for him. But yeah. So anything else you wanted to get to this week for baseball?
I'm looking around headline wise. I mean, we covered pretty much everything. I wanted to cover the AL East, cover the West. Just two of the best divisions in baseball right now, just in terms of standing wise. You have three teams within a game's reach, so it'll be a continuous carousel with these two right now. Just both sides of the pitching and hitting for all these teams are coming through. Looking at any other division. LA went over to Houston last night, and I don't know if you caught any of that. The Dodgers fans traveled in force. Kicked the shit out of Houston. Guys are banging trash cans in the stands. The cheater chants are roaring in the opponent's ballpark. Never seen anything like it. Gave them a taste of their own medicine. And Kershaw, first inning, he threw. The last time he faced them there in Minute Maid Park, the Astros didn't swing and miss at one curveball. First at bat, Altuve swings and misses on the first curveball he sees. So, wow, wonder what changes. Wonder what changed.
Wait, I thought they didn't cheat in 2019. That wasn't proven.
Exactly.
Man, I'm shocked, man. I didn't think at all that they cheated in 2019. I never even said that.
And I saw the stat and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope they keep kicking their door down. The Astros deserve it. It's been a long time coming for them to go in their park and try to, give them some of their own medicine. But yeah, I mean, they looked good last night, 9-3, just 9-2 victory, just dominating stuff by the offense, and Kershaw threw a gem. So yeah, the Astros, as much as Dusty Baker wants to say, oh, we've had enough we've endured enough heartache. No, you haven't. You're just gonna keep getting it until the season's over. But
yeah, boo-hoo.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from many of the games last night. Just fun to watch them get shit on, and it's not going to stop.
Oh yeah, no, and little respect to them. They're getting good stuff out of their younger pitchers, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, guys like that. They've been deep on this year, so good for them. But just a little tidbit on the Yankees. Still, listen, everyone's like, oh, they keep winning series and blah blah blah. They're still not hitting. They still have the problems with the runners in scoring position. It's great to see Judge, 307, I think right now, 13 home runs, something like that. He's doing well. Stanton, he's got to come off the IL then this week. But again, Stanton injured again, right? So now you're going to have that week where he's coming back, where it's he can't hit a fastball in the sweep zone. He's not going to be able to do it. And Gary Sanchez still sucks. Higashioka hasn't hit in weeks. Luke Voigt hasn't gotten into things yet. LeMahieu, I think, is only hitting 260. Hicks is out for the year. Clint Frazier hitting under 200. Yeah, Hicks is – well, they're not saying he's out for the year, but the surgery he got, it basically means he's out for the year. But who cares? He sucks too. He was hitting under 200. So it's just Yankees have an outfield problem now. They don't have anyone hitting 300 except for Judge. LeMahieu is not the same guy. I wish I had said that too, because other than the 2 years with the Yankees, he was never an amazing player. He was just hit 300 a few times in Colorado. So is he back to old DJ LeMahieu? I hate to say it, but final thing, and by the way, I'm just going to try and clip out these final 5 minutes to just send to Adiel, because these can all just be aimed at all of his talking points in general. Dun, 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 dun. It's time for the Lindor check of the pod. Let's go. All right, we gotta see this. New York Mets roster. Let's go to infield shortstop. 27-year-old switch hitter hitting 185, 3 home runs and 9 RBIs, 565 OPS.
Just stealing money from that organization. And people have been waiting for him to turn the corner, and it ain't happening. I mean, he is just awful. I mean, 185, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, four stolen bases. I don't
The
even know.
OPS is the worst though, bro. 565.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
330 basically means all singles. That's what you get for singles. And to be above average, like 700 is like good. 800 is like, okay, like you're almost all-star superstar. And then 900 above.
1,000's like, yeah.
Yeah. But
is like all-star caliber, like best guys. And in 565, that's just, I mean, that's unheard of with a guy with that big of a ticket on him. If you were to ask anybody that remotely follows baseball, if actually not doesn't follow baseball, like, how much money do you think this guy makes, and show them the stat line, they'd probably be like, league minimum or just above, decent contract, whatever baseball and that is. That's $5 million a year, I guess, maybe. No, he's making 300 something million dollars on his contract. Crazy. I don't know what the Mets are doing there, and that fan base is pissed. They're not happy with where that money's going right now, because they could have used it so many different places, and they're missing out on key pieces, and that's why I think ultimately the downfall for the New York Mets is the hitting. It's just not there. Their pitching's unreal. It's just they cannot muster up any offense when it matters. So at the end of the day, I think the Braves hunt them down. They're 24-24. Mets are 22-20. Atlanta's just too good, I think, offensively, and they're going to get their guys back in their rotation. They'll figure it out, and I think they hunt them down. And everyone else in that division is just 500, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, even when Conforto, McNeil, and Nimmo were in there, I mean, Nimmo was doing pretty well, but McNeil and Conforto were struggling. Dom Smith is still struggling. JD Davis, I think, is either injured or still struggling. Lindor, so now it's really Lindor and Pete Alonso, and what else? Kevin Pillar and Jonathan VR and James McCann's not hitting well. So at the beginning of the year, we're like, wow, look at this lineup. It could be really, really good. Adiel saying the Mets could be better than the Yankees, or that they are. And now they're just down the tubes, and they're going totally down. So you hate to see it, but I'm going to read out my exact tweet here, because this is what I said about Lindor. I said, people thought I was crazy before the season for not having Lindor as a top 5 shortstop. His WOBA and weighted trunk rated plus have been only slightly above league average, while players at his contract level have beat him significantly in those categories in particular. He's also never had 100 RBIs. I said, I'm referring to his career overall. Players that will one day receive a contract as large as him, or ones that already have received the contract, have all had better stats than Lindor over their careers. Machado, who got paid less, is better than Lindor by a lot. Harper, Stanton, who got paid less, are also better overall. It's just true. I mean, like, Stanton has had way better season. I'm just laughing because Audiella actually does watch this. It's pretty funny, but I'm just completely right here. I mean, Lindor just isn't there.
No, he's not. I mean, I just don't. We can hammer it home. There's so many guys in the league that are better off and can hit the ball, and they have a better approach and better defensively, if you ask me, than Lindor. He hasn't turned the corner, and even in Cleveland, he wasn't all that. We literally went back, and when we did the previews for the Indians, I think last year, we broke him down season by season, and we did it this year too. I don't think he had a season where he batted 300, and yes, the homers and the RBIs are there, maybe a couple years.
Yeah, never 100 RBIs though.
He's a career, I think 260 hitter. Let me go back. I just had him up here. Let's see, Lindor,
281 career hitter.
281 career hitter. Okay, there we go. Still, that's 20 points better, but still 280 career wise. It's not like you're Mike Trout making that money. So I don't know. Don't see it. Don't like the guy. Never liked him. But yeah, we'll see what Adiel says when if the batting average continues to plummet. What do you do? What do you do if you're the Mets? You can't keep playing him.
No, I mean, And the contract, it's not even year one yet on the contract. This isn't year one, so it's still last year's contract that he's getting right now. Not looking too good, but I don't know how we haven't even mentioned it. First of all, Trout out 4 to 6 weeks, but Ohtani has been Ohtani's historically just incredible. I mean, I got to just look at the stats, but CC Sabathia has been all over his podcast, social media, saying, "Hey, I called this, and if he ever gets clicking, he might be an MVP, level player." But as a pitcher, 1-0 with a 2.37 ERA, 45 strikeouts in 3 innings. Excuse me, in 30 innings. And then let me pull up his offensive stats. And by the way, still only 26 years old. Where is offensive stats here?
He's batting 269.
Yeah, 15 homers, 38 ribbies.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, he's unreal. I mean, the fact that he's healthy now, fully healthy, can pitch and hit. I mean, it's crazy. I don't think when's the last time we've seen a guy that can play both ways and do it at an elite level? It's been a long, long time. So it's a treat. It's a treat to watch. It sucks that he's over in the West Coast because like I said, I don't really watch a ton of baseball that's out there. It's just late. I don't feel like staying up till 2 a.m. watching baseball. It's not even meaningful to me. So he's in a interesting market. Him and Trout are probably in the worst market for baseball because they just don't get any recognition over there. They don't win. They're 21 and 27. Go figure. Who saw that coming, right? But they have no help. It's a superstar show out there, and they're doing their jobs, and just everyone else around them can't pull their weight. They have no depth. So it just sucks. It's like you made, I think, one of the greatest comparisons I've heard in a while. It's the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Angels are the same team. They're McDavid and Draisaitl, and then you have Ohtani and Mike Trout. 2 parallels, 2 careers that are going to get just squandered because they're in an organization that is not driven to win. And it's the bottom line.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's just so disappointing. And it's, again, Trout's amazing, so he's more movable than Lindor is, but still, there's only, 4 or 5 teams that can afford a Mike Trout. So it's like, if he wants out of LA, it's got to be one of those big city teams. And which one of them can even do it? The Dodgers can't afford it. Maybe the Yankees, now that they don't have a left or center fielder in a year or two, they're like, you know what, fuck it. But I don't know. I mean, you get the guy in his 30s. I know he's Mike Trout, but age is a thing, and he's getting older. So do you want him for that back half of the career? Does he turn into an Albert Pujols? I don't think so. I don't think he's ever going to be that type of guy, but the potential there is still there for that. And, we'll see. So, Steve, enjoy your game tonight. Tampa Bay Lightning trying to clinch over the Florida Panthers. And Emily, you're going. So good luck with that, bro.
Yeah, it'll be a doozy for sure. I went last Saturday. It's great to see fans back in the stands. It's got an electricity to it. Hopefully they can close it out. If not, the Lightning are capital FUCKED. They are fucked. I swear, if they don't win tonight, they are in deep shit. Because to go back to BB&T, would not be surprised if they open it up to 100%. Really wouldn't. But hopefully they do it. Only time will tell. It'll be nice to be there, but we will see. We will see.
All right, man. Have fun with that. I mean, obviously, part of me wants them to lose. Part of me wants them to win, so I could be right. It's so conflicting, It
is.
Yeah.
You're in a precarious situation because you have Mark and CJ that are Panthers fans, and then you have me and Adam. But I'm not on the spectrum of Adam where he's so homer that I had to leave the group chat the other night because I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot. I'll join it. Someone have me back when the series is over. I can't listen to the bickering on both sides.
Yeah.
It's because it stresses me out. But yeah, I know you don't have a dog in the fight this year, so you kind of just have to just eat it. But
pretty much.
But I'm sure you can't wait for this.
I'll say what happened after you left.
Yeah, let's rattle this off.
No, it was funny. Hold on. Mark said, y'all kick or he dipped. And then CJ said he dipped. Anytime these things come up, he leaves. And then Adam said, well, that makes one of us. And then Mark said, why you get so mad? The Cats or Lightning fan? And CJ said, Lightning. Mark said, wins a cup and can't take the slander. And CJ said he's big into the voodoo stuff and doesn't want to jinx anything. That part I laughed at because that's so true. Don't jinx anything.
It is. I just don't like the whole. I mean, I get it. I love talking hockey. I love talking even when we talked about the Rays and Yankees, we talked about it in such a a subjective kind of way where you kind of go, all right, this is what we know what's in the field. Let's talk about the product out there. But I'm not going to make any prediction. I'm not going to talk about what's happened. I only just kind of analyze it. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're going to win in 7 or we're going to win in 6. I don't believe in any of that. So I had to get away from it. It stresses me out. That's why I don't stick around for it. So as much as I want to yell and throw my 2 cents in, I know CJ and those Panther fans will not. They don't care. They don't know hockey. Those fans are booing at everything. Every time a guy falls down, it's like, Marchment falls down. Boo. I'm like, dude, the guy didn't get touched, man. Like, I don't know. All I can say is I hope they close it out tonight. I have a feeling they close it out. I may or may not have thrown money on the Panthers. But
boy.
Here we go again, right? With the Super Bowl. I did it for the Bucks, so who knows?
Hey, are we gonna get another Steve riot in the city? I don't know.
That'd be part 2. But if I were to pick 2 teams from Tampa to win it, I'll say it right now. You could have it on air. If I had to pick 2 teams to win it from the Tampa area, or if I had to pick one, it would be the Tampa Bay Rays. It'd be the Rays. If I had to pick one team out of all the markets, it'd be them. Just because I love baseball. I want to see one ring. I'm tired of getting chirped at every Yankees game. I'm in my home stadium, and I can't even talk shit because the Yankees fans are like, oh, you guys haven't won shit. And I'm like, I just need one. I need one under the belt. Just go, all right, I'm a champion. All right.
Yeah. No, I mean, Yankee fans do get annoying, man. And so I was chirping that night that I won. I'll say that.
By the way, rightfully so.
Cole 12 Ks was like that was crazy. I was in the upper deck. You were in your damn suite.
I mean, he is unreal. Cole, I mean, he's one of the favorites to win the Cy Young. That guy, just to watch him in person, I have never seen him pitch and well, yes, that's a lie. Spring training, but in real game time, when it matters, when the pitches matter, I mean, he was just unreal. I mean, he gave up one hit to Rosarena that went off the top of the wall. I was like, that was our chance. After they didn't score, Garrett Cole's fastball is off speed, just blowing it by guys. The guy's just a freak athlete out there, and I mean, he's worth every dime.
Yeah, there was one about against Phillips where he just toyed. It was like 3 pitches, all them out of the strike zone, and he was just toying with them.
He just goes, hey, I'm going to throw the fastball 99 and good luck hitting it. And he just threw it up in the zone at the letters, and he thought he could hit it and just blew it by him 3 straight times, and just overpowering just stuff every night.
Yeah, no, it was a great game to go to. So, all right, Steve, enjoy that game tonight. We'll be back next week for this.
Mm-hmm.
Strictly Hockey just came out yesterday. It was recorded on the 24th, uploaded on the 25th. We didn't have the updated clinching scenarios yet. It's still the overall points. They're still there. We talked about the Oilers being on a failure streak before they actually officially got swept. Points still exist. Go listen to it. It was great. CJ came on. Adam wasn't there for that one, but CJ was on for that pod, so it was a good one. Strictly Sports, we just did one last week on the NHL playoffs and our NFL draft review, so go check that out. We got to do a Strictly Yankees soon and Strictly Rangers. Once the NHL, right now it's a bit of a dead time for that one. Rangers aren't doing much because obviously the playoffs are going on, but they got a head coaching choice. We'll obviously upload a pod for that and get that out to you guys. So go look us up on YouTube. It's Strictly Sports Productions. Go into the playlist channel. All 5 podcasts are organized in there. You can find them all pretty easily. Find us on Twitter at Strictly Sports P, Facebook and Instagram at Strictly Sports Productions. And we're also on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others as well. So for Steve Cashin, I'm Jacob Brown, and we'll see you next week.